ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तावत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। संसारसागरे मग्नं दीनं मां करुणानिधे कर्ममोहगृहीताङ्गं मामुद्धर भवार्णवात्। श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थं भवसागरे। मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वथा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यः दासोऽहं तव केशव। शुकरूपप्रबोधज्ञ सर्वशास्त्रविशारद एतत् कथाप्रकाशेन मदज्ञानं विनाशय। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्च अर्थेष्वभिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। समस्तदेवताभ्यो नमः ऋषिभ्यो नमः मुनिभ्यो नमः गुरुभ्यो नमः ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमः आचार्येभ्यो नमः भक्तेभ्यो नमः साधुभ्यो साधकेभ्यो तीर्थेभ्यो क्षेत्रेभ्यो नदीनदेभ्यो शास्त्रेभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री परब्रह्मणे नमः। महाविष्णवे ब्रह्मणे सनकादिमुनिभ्यो नारदाय वेदव्यासाय शुकब्रह्मर्षे सूतमहामुनये शौनकादृषिभ्यो अत्रादृषिभ्यो प्रह्लादादिभक्तजनेभ्यो आदित्यादि नवग्रह देवताभ्यो मत्स्यादिवतारेभ्यो दक्षिणामूर्ति दत्तात्रेय हयग्रीवादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। आदिवराशक्तिमात्रे नमः। माता पितृदेवताभ्यो नमः। आद्य शंकराचार्यवर्यादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणमेकादश स्कंदः मुक्तिरित्वान्यथा रूपं स्वरूपेण व्यवस्थितिः अथ द्वाविंशोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच। Let us chant again the entire this beautiful portion from 36. Though we have seen many the shlokas, again it's being very important. Nothing wrong in doing Parayanam. Om मनः कर्ममयं नॄणाम् इन्द्रियैः पञ्चभिर्युतं लोकाल्लोकं प्रयात्यन्यः आत्मा तदनुवर्तते ध्यायन्मनोनुविषयान् दृष्टान् वानुश्रुतानथ उद्यत्सीदत् कर्मतन्त्रं स्मृतिस्तदनुशाम्यते विषयाभिनिवेशेन नात्मानं यत्स्मरेत् पुनः जन्तोर्वै कस्यचित् हेतोः मृत्युरत्यन्तविस्मृतिः जन्मत्वात्मतया पुंसः सर्वभावेन भूरिदा विषयस्वीकृतिं प्राहुः यथा स्वप्नमनोरथः स्वप्नं मनोरथं चेत्थं प्राक्तनन्न स्मरत्यसौ तत्र पूर्वमिवात्मानम् अपूर्वं चानुपश्यति इन्द्रियायन सृष्ट्येदं त्रैविध्यं भाति वस्तुनि बहिरन्तर्भिदा हेतुः जनो असज्जनकृद् यथा नित्यदा हि अङ्गभूतानि भवन्ति न भवन्ति च कालेनालक्ष्यवेगेन सूक्ष्मत्वात् तत् न दृश्यते यथार्चिषां स्रोतसाञ्च फलानां वा वनस्पतेः तथैव सर्वभूतानां वयोवस्थादयः कृताः सोऽयं दीपोर्चिषां यद्वत् स्रोतसां तद् इदं जलं सोऽयं पुमानिति नॄणां मृषागीर्धिर्मृषायुषां मा स्वस्य कर्मबीजेन जायते सोऽप्ययं पुमान् म्रियते वामरो भ्रान्त्या यथाग्निर्दारुसंयुतः निषेकगर्भजन्मानि बाल्यकौमारयौवनं वयो मध्यं जरा मृत्युः इत्यवस्थास्तनोर्नव एतामनोरथमयीः ह्यन्यस्योच्चावचास्तनोः गुणसङ्गादुपादत्ते क्वचित् कश्चित् जहाति च आत्मनः पितृपुत्राभ्यां अनुमेयौ भवाव्ययौ न भवाप्य वस्तूनाम् अभिज्ञोद्वयलक्षणः तरोर्बीजविपाकाभ्यां यो विद्वान् जन्म संयमौ तरोर्विलक्षणः द्रष्टा एवं द्रष्टा तनोः पृथको प्रकृतेरेवमात्मानं विविच्याबुधः पुमान् तत्त्वेन स्पर्शसम्मूढः संसारं प्रतिपद्यते सत्त्वसङ्गादृशीन् देवान् रजसासुरमानुषान् तमसा भूततिर्यक्त्वं भ्रामितो याति कर्मभिः नृत्यतो गायतः पश्यन् यथैवानुकरोति तान् एवं बुद्धिगुणान् पश्यन् अनीहोऽप्यनुकार्यते यथाम्भसा प्रचलता तरोऽपि अचला इव चक्षुषा भ्राम्यमाणेन दृश्यते भ्रमतीव भोः यथा मनोरथधियः विषयानुभवो मृषा स्वप्नदृष्टाश्च दाशारः तथा संसार आत्मनः अर्थे हि अविद्यमानेऽपि संसृतिर्न निवर्तते ध्यायतो विषयानस्य स्वप्नेनर्थागमो यथा तस्मादुद्धवमाभुङ्क्ष्व विषयान् असदिन्द्रियैः आत्मा ग्रहणनिर्भातं पश्य वैकल्पिकं भ्रमं क्षिप्तो वमानितो असद्भिः प्रलब्धो सूयतो तवा ताडितः सन्निबद्धो वा वृत्त्या वा परिहापितः विष्टितो मूत्रितो वाग्नैः बहुदैवं प्रकम्पितः श्रेयस्कामः कृच्छ्रगतः आत्मनात्मानमुद्धरेत उद्धव उवाच यथैव मनुबुद्धेयं वदनो वदतां वरा सुदुःसहमिमं मन्ये आत्मनि असदतिक्रमं विदुषामपि विश्वात्मान् प्रकृतिर्हि बलीयसे ऋते त्वद्धर्मनिरतानो शांस्तांस्ते चरणालयान् इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायाम् एकादशस्कन्धे द्वाविंशोऽध्यायः। ओम शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ओम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम, श्रीभागवत शरणं मम, श्रीसद्गुरु शरणं मम, श्रीसूता शरणं मम, श्रीशुकदेव शरणं मम, श्रीव्यास शरणं मम, श्रीनारद शरणं मम, श्रीकुमार शरणं मम, श्रीब्रह्मा शरणं मम, श्रीविष्णु शरणं मम, श्रीपरब्रह्म शरणं मम, श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम, शरणं मम, शरणं मम। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। ॐ मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। स्वर्गे सत्ये च कैलासे वैकुण्ठे नास्त्यं रसः अतः पिबन्तु सद्भाग्याः मामुञ्चितकर्हिचिद। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणमेकादशस्कन्धः मुक्तिरित्वा अन्यथा रूपं स्वरूपेण व्यवस्थितिः अथ द्वाविंशोऽध्यायः। Yes, this much time is minimum to spend to remember all the Bhagavatacharyas, all the Devatas, Gurus, with whose grace alone we start becoming purified, to understand the sublime thought that is provided to us through these Shastras. Especially the Bhagavata Puranam in general, particularly the 11th Skandha, in that also these portions of last 6 chapters 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, they are so essential if you and I want to near the truth in our understanding, contemplation, and experience. Among that also this 22nd chapter, Bhagavan unhesitatingly revealing some sublime subtle truths, secrets as to what exactly is the position of the Atmavastu, position of the Maya, position of the Upadesa, position of the Prakriti, and the modification in that the role of Vasanas, the placement of the time, finally the role of the Jiva in that. If one has patience, one has subtlety, one has interest with these three. If we can study word by word this portion of Bhagavatam to a great extent, the secret will be known to him regarding what exactly is happening. This is in line with, it's absolutely in parallel with what Bhagavan said to us, Karikakara, in our Mandukya Alata Shanti Prakarana. So, in this Pauranic language, it is said here, there Bhagavan told us directly, purely in the Advaita Vedanta Grantha. And when we that way, word by word, keep on studying, slowly it starts revealing to us. Then allow it to sink inside the system, in ourselves. Once this thought sinks into us, there is no doubt, conviction ho gaya. Like any other value, first you have to understand the importance and practice of that value. Once you understand, it sinks in us. Once it sinks in, then we start practicing it and eking out benefits out of it. We can make them even our habits also. In the same way, once the understanding is perfect, then we have to work out. When we work out exactly what are the things to be eliminated, deleted, improved upon, dropped, what is to be pursued or accepted, all these things start becoming so clear. And how to do also starts becoming clear. And we really start doing the sadhanas really of, putting everything in their own position. The Vyavahara, then what I say, the Dharma, the Loka Seva, how far they have to be done. Then why and how the Deha Niyantrana, Indriya Niyantrana, Mano Niyantrana, Vritti Nirmulana, Vasana Nirmulana, Ahankara Sharanagati, all of them start obviously easily happening if you start doing actually. But before doing, conviction ke liye, first you listen and keep on contemplating. So in this 22nd chapter, all those Bhagavan has revealed to us. So yesterday we saw, if we straight away go to the verse number 40, what is said here? Swapnam manoratham chetam praktanam nasmaratyasau tatra purvamivatmanam apurvam chanupashyati. Just like the Swapna and Manoratha, when we are in particular Swapna, in one particular Manoratha. What is Swapna? We know the dream. Manoratha means the causal building. That imaginary world, which generally the children or the youth, the young girls, women, they will have these Manoratha. So to the middle-aged have their own Manoratha. The oldies have Manoratha that my children, grandchildren will listen to me and love me. It never happens. But they. So in our Shastras, to explain the truth, and from the truth standpoint, to explain this Mithya Atva of the Jagat, they give these three examples. One is the Swapna, second is Manoratha, third is Indrajala. And they take, while giving those three analysis, they give the three examples of the Rajju Sarpa Bharanti, then the Shanka Shuktika Bharanti, the Rajata Shuktika Bharanti, and the third one is the mirage water thing. And for that also, again, the three examples they mainly give are the mud and the mud pots, and the gold and the ornaments, and the rivers and the waves, ocean and wave, water and wave. So these are the ones which again and again repeatedly when we study what exactly said by Shastras regarding the reality of the reality and the unreality of the unreal Jagat. So here he is telling, did you get your dream? Yeah. Did you get another dream next day? Yeah. Do you remember the earlier dream's personality in the new dream? Not at all. All forgotten. So do you have a Manoratha? Yeah. Today's Manoratha is go somewhere. Yesterday's Manoratha was somewhere else. एक दिन मनोरथ ऐसा होता है, घर में खूब खाना बना के सो जाओ, होता नहीं वो. Another day comes, what, घर में जाओ, go to hotel, eat and move all over the city and come. These are all Manoratha. And actually some people feel it also as they have gone. Then others ask, अरे कहाँ गए हो, कहाँ खोए हो? That's not dream, that's not sleep, that's called Manoratha. And Aindrajalika, the Jadugar, the magician creates all things which are not there. So in the same way, earlier body say, this body manida, all that is forgotten. But the thing is, he forgets also that he is in the continuation. As I explained yesterday exhaustively, the forgetting of the earlier life is necessary condition. Then only afresh he can live, because the new body is given for him to work out the next matured vasanas and samskara. But in that forgetfulness of the earlier life, He also forgets that he is continuous. Then he gets identified this particular equipment, the people, situation so much that he forgets that this one day he'll have to leave and go further. In this forgetfulness, he forgets that he is not a jiva, dehadi, he is a jiva, and also as a jiva, his job is not to identify with the upadhi or try to get sukha through them, but he is only has to redeem himself of his identity with upadhi, which is caused by the vasanas. As the vasanas go away, upadhi tadatma goes away, jiva slowly becomes dull or thin, slowly dissolves, and what reveals is Paramatma, who was expressing as jiva because of the conditioning or that aham vritti. ये बात मन में आता ही नहीं, like that millions of lives or thousands of lives, jiva goes on living as a jiva, identifying the upadhi, taking the world as real, running behind the world, running away from the world. Continuously, that's what you and I are doing. The pause, rethink, then re-establish everything, reconcile everything, and restart afresh your path, not outside but inside, not into the world but into the self. In the same way, he said, Tatra Purvam Atmanam Apurvamiva Anupashyati. So, therefore, what it should sort out, as we said yesterday exhaustively, we are not only from the womb to the tomb, we were there in earlier bodies also, we will be there in the future bodies also, till we discover ourself. And why we get every body? Because of the vasanas in us. Exactly what is happening? Read carefully. The karmas which are done by the Indriya Mana Buddhi are becoming vasanas. Vasanas are expressing as karmas through the in the mind as sankalpa, through the body as karma. Then to these, when an identity of mine is joined, then they fall on my head. And why I get identified with them? Because of my habits. Because of again, I that individuality is not discovered his essential self. Therefore, in that ignorance of the real self, something he wants to be. Therefore, he just becomes that identifier of those upadhis called as jiva. So that is what in Gita 5th chapter, Indriyani Indriyarteshu Varthante. The Indriyas are perceiving Indriya objects. Who are you? If you become perceiver, you can become. That's what is samsara. You can withdraw from it and start becoming sakshi. By that, what happens? Two things. One, your involvement them in them gets reduced, or your samsara gets reduced. And you, when you are not actively participating in them, slowly after the exhaustion of asanas is over, slowly all those indriya mana buddhiyas, that virulent, powerful expression also starts reduced. Like I, as a driver, driving the car or cycle or scooter, with all my application of the gears or accelerators. Listen, when I put the gear into neutral, stop pressing the accelerator. What will happen? The doer is not there. So I am not the driver. As much as the inertia of motion is there, the vehicle moves some distance and it stops there. Is it not? In the same way. And when again I put my effort, again the vehicle moves, so I am the karta of it. In the same way, the kartrutva, when the upadhis are doing karma, is choice. Not only we are taking a wrong choice, we are becoming the karta when they are doing, but through them we want to become happy. In which the biggest mistake happening is we are forgetting that we ourselves are the Ananda Swarupa. Beautiful. This is the main thing we have to meditate upon. And the examples also will be given here in text like Atma Vivek Chudamani. When you read them, it is very clearly explained to us. So, Drusyate Abhreshu Dhavatsu Dhavaniva Yatashashi. The example, when the clouds are moving, the moon seems to be moving, appears to be moving. In the same way, the upadhis are working, I am not. Listen, when I am not the one, when the upadhis are working, I am not the worker, you are a sakshi, then you are no more a jiva. The moment when they are working, you put it on your head, you become the doer of them, then the phala falls on your head. It's different between the sadhaka, the siddha purusha, and samsari. The difference is what? In samsari, when the upadhis are working, he is working. Sadhaka, when upadhis are working, he slowly naham karomi, naham karta, etc. As in the morning also Vyasa. Akartaham, agantaham, avaktaham. Those who came for that Nirvana Manjari class Telugu, they have seen that taste. A sadhaka tries that sadhana that they are doing, I am not doing. When the one reaches to that selfhood, he knows that he is only witness. In his presence, whatever has to happen happening, he is not touched by them. Little higher level mein jao, he is so much engrossed in his own self that he will not even be a sakshi drashta of even the entire world or whatever is there. This is what we are in the first level of sadhana. Sorry, of samsara. Come to second level of sadhana. Now this samsara में मैं हूँ, साधक क्यों नहीं बनना चाहता हूँ? Again, big subject. It's not given here, but one or two thoughts further because we are getting maja in that. Because we got a habit of that. Because we have so many samskaras in us. And more than that, we have that fear that if I leave it, what will happen? Like the people who got habituated to travel in car. One day car gets broken, they get so panic. अरे कैसे करेंगे ऑफिस कैसे जाएंगे Everybody in the house become हैरान. अरे तो पैदाइशी कार में आए थे क्या? But then last 10 years they were going even for bathroom also in the car, so they got a habit of it. They imagine that it can't be without car. But you see in the world, people they just walk down only 5-10 किलोमीटर office या school पैदल जा रहे हैं लोग. But he says, how can I? So to the Westerners and following them, all the Delhiites, for them without shoe coming out is impossible. You see in the Delhi सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस एक भी बिंदा बिना बिना जूते का होगा नहीं. खुद का हो या किसी ने जूते दिए होंगे, जैसे भी हो, they think that without shoe it cannot be. If a person wears chappal, it is an insult as if. In western countries because too cold it is, they wear all that warmth के लिए. अब उसको पहला फॉलो करके. In this way, these are 3-4 reasons or strong notions. When we cut them asunder, then we can slowly start truly becoming Sakshi and Drashta. Then we can see we are not at all them, we are different from it. They cannot touch me. That's the meaning of every 4 bhutas in the Akasha, but they don't touch it. Sun is the one giving all heat and light, but he is not a karta bhokta. People who are doing good or bad on the earth. All these examples when they are in my head and keep on contemplating on them and why those examples are given when that essence is caught, then with that help I can deeply understand what is the struggle the gurus are doing to convey to us. To convey what they are struggling this is the shloka. In this way, Indriyayana Srishtya idam Traividyam Bhati Vastuni Bahirantar Bheda Hetuhu Janaha Asat Janakrut Yatha Visa. It is the body and identification the body which is giving the triputi of Adivaivika, Adivautika, Adhyatmika, as well as triputi of the Vishwa Tayasa Prajna. And in that, inside is Adhyatmika, outside is Adivautika. So, Andar Bahar notion. Jagra Swapna Sushupti notion. Adivautika, Adhyatmika, Adevika notion. These are all starting from the Deha and Deha Tadatmya. Dehas are expressing in the Samashti Prakriti, you can say, or because of asanas. That is not necessary that you get identified with them. If you identify, you are that. And it is becoming from so many lives or so much long time. Therefore, we think this is the way. Like in every of our habits in life for day to day, we do some things out of habit and we think that is the way. It can be the other way also. But because of habit of this much, the other way we don't think. Suddenly when somebody does the other way, it becomes a surprise. It becomes a performance. ध्यान से सुनना. So therefore, Indriyayana Srishtya idam Traividyam Bhati Vastuni. In the pure self, the Turiya Atma, the Jagra Swapna Sushupti Avasthas, the Jagra Swapna Sushupti Anubhavas happen to the Jagra Swapna Sushupti Purusha because of the Tadatma with Deha, Stula as well as Sukshma. Therefore, Bahirantar Bhidayetu Janaha Saja Asat Janakrut Yatha. Then we started yesterday seeing some very salient, subtle thoughts which really break shackles on the seat of meditation as well as in our understanding. If this inner understanding becomes stronger, then the outer problem, they themselves get withered away. Just like when you get up from the dream, you will not try to even solve the problems of dream because you know the position of them. Is it not? That's unreal. In the dream, you are trying to solve that problem so much. कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ, बीमारी हो गई, हॉस्पिटल गए, पैसे नहीं है, डॉक्टर मांग रहा है इतना पैसे तभी ऑपरेशन करूंगा, ऑल सिनेमा हिंदी तेलुगु देख के ये सब सपना आया. And then you go to friend, they say no, not that much money is not there, we are also suffering. And go to your children, they say mama expenses are gone for that only. Then your childhood friends, you go there, you say हम भी भिखार हैं तुम्हारी तरह. Then you go to the bank, bank वाला कहते हैं, you fill out 2000 forms, then I'll give you 2 rupees. The bank has its own problem. देन यू गो फॉर दैट लोन, दिस हो गिरवी रख, क्या है तुम्हारे पास, कुछ नहीं, फिर नहीं देंगे हम. इन द ड्रीम देन यू ट्राई टू व्हाट टू डू, भगवान सच्चे दुख यू गेव मी, मुझे तो आत्महत्या ही करनी है. जस्ट टू ट्राई टू डू आत्महत्या, सडनली यू फॉल बिकॉज यू फेल इन द वाटर देर, यू वेक अप फ्रॉम द बेड. देखो, देन विच इज द प्रॉब्लम यू सॉल्व ऑफ द ड्रीम ऑफ ऑल दिस, टू whom you will go again. या कल आया था मैं पैसे नहीं दिए, थोड़ा तो दो आज. Do you do that? First of all, that situation is not at all real. Then all the things are gone. That's the beauty, you know. When you awaken from the dream, dream problems are not solved, they're dissolved. So when you awaken to the truth, the samsara problems don't even exist to be solved. That's called as Atyantika Mukti. In the samsara, trying to solve one by other problem is, it is you are solving one only to create the other one. You are in the different zone itself where problems are inevitable. To solve all of them, you have to rise above, go to the next level. Is it not? People, because if the area, slum area, neighbors are not good, water problem is there, electricity problem is there, always sound is there, machhar khatmal. What do? Thoda paise kharch kar, you go to a new area where all these problems are not there permanently. You can't solve one by one. So, to in the Jagrada Avastha, or as a Jiva, or identify the Deha, or as a Samsari, you can never avoid limitations and problems. The only way is rise to your own real self. देखो आया समझ में नहीं, थोड़ा थोड़ा इसको अंदर जाने देना. डोंट रिएक्ट, डोंट रिवोल्ट, डोंट पुश दिस थॉट आउटसाइड अवे. No, 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 I continue Deha and Jiva. I get only identified with this samsara. Then you don't want to wake up from the dream, then suffer. Again and again, when you allow the Guru, then he will listen. Then his speech will slowly start making us start listening or believing. देन जैसे आपको आगे बढ़ना होता है, बढ़ते रहते हो, फिर दैट नॉलेज बिकम कन्विक्शन, यू योर सेल्फ प्रैक्टिस इट. नाउ व्हाट द इंपॉर्टेंट श्लोका, नित्यदाहि अंग भूतानि भवन्ति न भवन्ति च. As we explained this shloka more than 50 minutes yesterday, today also we are spending 2 minutes. Please understand what it is saying, see its consequence, how beautifully it helps us, or make use of that knowledge. He says nityada bhutani bhuvanti na bhavanti. Every moment the bodies are born afresh, dying to the past. Kalena alaksha vegena. And who is bringing these births and deaths? In fact, birth means the change from the earlier to the other. So the earlier conditions absence is called as birth, death. The new conditions presence is called as birth. That's it. So Kala in its unstoppable time is in its unstoppable force or speed, bringing these two chains of death and birth every moment. Bhutani bhavanti navan. Then sukshmatvat. But it is happening so slow, not abruptly. Therefore, Navashanti is not able to see. Only when suddenly accident happens or heart attack happens and it stops responding to the around things, we think he died. Nobody dies. Everybody is dying, dead. I died yesterday in one way. Today I'm born afresh. Again today I'll die tonight. Tomorrow I'm born. One day suddenly when all things stop, it is called actual death. But every day it's happening. But we are not able to perceive or catch. But if we can understand it, then the real death, usko hum darenge nahi ab hum. And then every day afresh is given to us, make best use of it. And only use is what? To go near to our essential nature. In the understanding, in the meditation, in experience. So now comes the few shlokas. Yatharchisham srotasam cha phalanam vavanaspatehe tathaiva sarvabhutanam vayovasthadaya krutaha. देखो, in kala, the three examples are given. Just like the birth, the growth, the disappearance happened to them because of some of the other upadhis in that. Same way is uh, the vayaha, the growth and old ages, diseases, deaths are happening to the upadhi, not to the jiva. This much we have to catch. Examples are what? Archisham, Srotasam, Phalanam. Fire was not at all there. Lightly kindled, all the fuel added, started blazing. When the indhanam started going away, slowly the fire gets quenched. Fire never came, never went away. Is it not? Fire was always in the avyakta rupa. It got vyakta because of the upadhi. When the upadhi gone away, whatever it is, then it appears to have disappeared, but never gone away. Okay? In the same way, the second one is called the srotasam. When the heavy floods come, so much of water is gathered. When it is a drought time or no rains or summer, you see it is dried up. Third one is what example given. Phalanam cha vanaspatehe, the fruits of the tree. Slowly from a small thing grow. They become pura fructified. Then they even fall also. In the same way, the kala as it is bringing changes in these three examples, same kalam is bringing this birth of the body, growth of the body, decaying of the body, disease of the body, death of the body. Which you have to be witnessing only. You need not get carried away by them. तुमको नहीं हो रहा है भाई, काल तुम्हारे प्रेजेंस में देह को ये सब करा रहा है. The moment you say they are mine, then they are put on your head. Not mine, not head. That choice is there for us to identify with the upadhi and suffer along with them. So here what's happening? I, the self-witness of all that, by identifying with them, feeling the jiva bhava and suffering with the modifications there. Okay, this is the first present position. So when the deha is growing, I am growing. When it is diabetic, I am diabetic. When it is fat, I am fat. When it is lean and thin, I am lean and thin. When it is old, I am old. This is what the jiva is suffering. But exactly what's happening? The deha sthitis are changing. How they are changing? Kala. Why the kala is changing? It has its own prarabdha. Then you have a choice to identify and suffer. Then you are a jiva. You have a choice to withdraw and stand apart and look at it. You are no more suffering that. Who is the one who is standing apart when you see? When you try to see, you will know I am that conscious self. Bhagavan tries to tell this point in hundreds of Shastra. We have to catch it. What he says, in my presence, my inexplicable power is creating the world, maintaining the world, dissolving the world. Clear? Second sentence, in my presence, my own power is making the world appear, stay for some time, disappear. First thing is our version, second thing is the real version. In reality, there is neither Maya apart and independent from the Lord. Therefore, without Lord, the Maya cannot be, but Lord can be without Maya. So, to without Maya, the world, etc., Sushti Sthiti Laya cannot be. But Sushti Sthiti Laya किए बिना the Maya Shakti withdraw करेगा. तो उसकी जरूरत भी नहीं होगी. At that time, one can remain as in one's own self. तो भगवान मयाध्यक्षेण प्रकृति सूयते सचर अचरम. The entire world is being manifested by the Maya Shakti in my presence, of course, for the jivas in the ignorance of that self. And what helps us, there is a second example which we studying last 2-3 months every day in the Mandukya Upanishad, the Alata. If that one example you become thorough in, you have sorted out the problem of world. When that alata is moved in different directions, different shapes and designs are seen. They are seen, but they are not real. Why? Because there's no stuff in them. Point one. Second is one, they are neither came from the alata, nor came from somewhere else, nor entered into alata when it is stopped moving, nor went somewhere else. If you can understand that jadoo of the alata, alata means a firebrand. When you move it in whatever the direction you are moving it, those shapes are seen. You make it like a serpentine movement, a serpent appears. You make it a star movement, a star appears. Make a cross movement, the into oval हो दिखेगा. Make a square, square, rectangle, rectangle, circle, join, 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 circle, hexagonal. देखो कितने भी आप करो, वो है क्या, हो दिख रहा है लेकिन नहीं है. What a beautiful thing, you see. If you catch that in the same way, and in and through all those shapes, listen carefully. At every spot, whatever was seen was that shapeless, formless, the alata's tip only. In the same way, in entire world, which is just imagination, that imagination is only on the pure self. Self is always there, it cannot go anywhere. It is all pervading. But on the self only, some funny movement of the chitta, that is what? Yatha spandanam chitta spanditam evedam. That I am not telling because it becomes elaborate subject. The spandana of the chitta is creating the world, making the world appear, making it appear as real. अब खोजोगे ना उसमें तो कुछ है ही नहीं. Science is doing the research in different way. Spirituality does in research. Spirituality does the research from within. Science does the research from outside. Both of them have to reach finally to one point only, that the self or Paramatma or truth or absolute reality alone is real. All else is imaginary. Okay, the spiritual inquiry is what? It is based on subject. It says the objective world cannot exist without subject. In the subject, different layers they take up. Then they say which is depending on what. Finally, they reach out to that. Everything depends on the self. They are not independent. They are all not independent. How can they perceive or see the world? That way they reject the world and only self is there. All the big subject may cut short karke in 3 sentences I told. What science is doing, it is taking every object. It is making into small, small pieces and it is trying to pierce into what it is finally. Is it not? How far it has reached? You say everything is energy in motion. Is it not that energy in motion? Even if you pierce that and see, what do you see? Nothingness. But nothingness is not nothing because it is nothing other than you. Because anything you see, you have to be there as the seer. Up to the nothingness, the science can go. What is that next? It cannot explain. In the way the spirituality also up to the nothingness, the Buddha's Shunyavada has taken. That is why in the 99th sloka Mandukya we see Naitad Buddhena Bhashitam, he will say. The last word. Is Buddha and we are right to the extent there's no thing outside. But he stops there. We say no thing outside other than the perceiver or seer. See that subtlety there? How can you say there is nothing? You have to say nothing other than me. That's what Vedanta says. Because you can't deny your existence. वो कुछ नहीं कैसे कहोगे भाई, मेरे अलावा कुछ नहीं है. कुछ नहीं है और मेरे अलावा कुछ नहीं है, जमीन आसमान का फर्क है इन दोनों अंडरस्टैंडिंग्स में. इज इट नॉट? कुछ नहीं है मीन्स यूर शून्य, मेरे अलावा कुछ नहीं मतलब मैं ही मैं हूं. देन व्हाट्स द वर्ल्ड? माई सेल्फ ऑब्जेक्टिफाइड इज वर्ल्ड. इज इट नॉट? व्हाट इज द सेल्फ? सब्जेक्टिफाइड वर्ल्ड इज कॉल्ड सेल्फ. थिंक, थोड़ा दिमाग, लिटिल बिट. Everything will not happen one day. Little by little, when we add wisdom to ourselves this way, we can. But जब सत्य पता चलता है ना, ये जो असत या imagination का जो सारे समस्या, it goes once for all. That you have to believe in. Therefore, search the truth. Seek the truth alone. Truth of this world, truth of Jiva. Everything is that one God only. Think about it. So here he says, Yatharchisham srotasam cha phalanam va vanaspatehe tata eva sarvabhutanam vayovastadayah krutaha. So all the fires or the waters and fruits, and they are just grown, born, growing, dying. Remember, in the fire is not stationary. As the fuel is added, it is growing or getting reduced. So to the water is not stationary, it's keeping on moving in the river. So to the fruit is not the same next moment. It little bit fructified further. More, more, more. When it becomes heavier and sufficient in its own content as a fruit, it is disconnected when the tree falls down. कोई है तो खाएंगे उसको, नहीं तो जमीन में चलाएगा वो. In the same way, all these dehas are born, growing. For its the feeding is what? The vasana, the samskaras. As long as they are there, the bodies will be born, they will continue, they die. The samskaras of an individuals are called the Maya Avyakta in the total. In the total, the Ishvara has power of over Maya, therefore he can do what he wants. In the Jiva, we have no power, therefore we are victims. What happening? That's one thought. Now here, soyam deporchisham yadvata srotasam tadidam jalam soyam pumaniti grununam mrushagirther mrushayusham. Now what breaking of the shell happens in this shloka, very rare places it happens, and it is really, as I said yesterday, it's a bombshell type of shloka. Very sublime you have to become to listen it. I try my best to explain. First example. So, two examples out of three are taken. Soyam Deepaha Archisham Sotasam Tadidam Jalam. So, what do you say? We talk about the same lamp, same flame. We talk about same river, same water. Listen carefully there. Is the lamp same? Lamp in the flame? No. Because as the fuel that is being taken by the wick there, continuously the flame is changing. Therefore, what was earlier is not there next moment. So too, we say the river is same, but what is same river? River cannot be without the water. Water is continuously changing. How can you use the same river? But it has become a habit to say. Therefore, we say वही river है, वही क्या कहते हैं अर्चिश है. In the same way, what is he teaching us is in our life also, at every moment, now the equipments are changing. Same is not there. One point. Therefore, with equipments, the jiva who is identifying is also not same, is also changing. If this way you can meditate, this continuum of the jiva bhava is broken. What's the problem here? What is continuous is self. उसको दबा के रख दिया पहले. What is never existing is jiva. He is being brought into picture. Then he is being continuous. How? Because of the things that are happening. Which things that are happening? Every moment changing things. No thing that's happening is same. So the things are continuously changing. According to things, the perceiver, the ego, jiva also is changing. But what's happening here? He doesn't want to change the things. One struggle, that's what he's doing. Second, he is imagining that he is the same continuously. He is trying to be the same also. But he can never exist without the upadhi. Upadhis are continuously changing. Then he also changes. Now, like the upadhis is dying, means a moment before river is not the same. It's dead because the water has flown. A moment before, the flames are not same now. The lamp is not same because earlier flames were different. This flame is different. So too, earlier experience was different. Did now experience is different. Therefore, he cannot be the same jiva. But just like we call the river is same, flame is same, or lamp, we say we are the same. This is the technique given to break the continuum of the experiencers, which was creating or which is giving continuity to the pseudo non-existing jiva. It's a highly contemplative shloka. Then a question comes, even for the Jiva, though he is every moment dying and born with every experience, how he is feeling that continuity? Then that continuity borrowed by him is by the Sat Chit Atma which is behind. The Sat Chit Atma cannot be explained to you, cannot be shown to you. It is only experiential. That is the eternal problem remaining. We can't show it, that's why we are explaining so much. अगर उसको हम दिखा सकते थे, इतना स्ट्रगल नहीं होता वेदांत का. You understand? If the Guru or God or Shruti can bring us the Atma and put in front, हो जाता है कभी का इतना इधर वही वो तुम आत्मा नहीं हो ये तुम आत्मा है थोड़ा देख लेना संभाल लेना तुम्हारा आत्मा तुमको दे दिया मैं बाद में मैंने कहना यू अंडरस्टैंड यू हैव borrowed समथिंग फ्रॉम somebody को स्कूटर ले गए घूम के आगे भाई चाबी दे रहा स्कूटर से सलामत है हवा भी भरा मैं पेट्रोल भी भर दी 113 रुपए फिर भी दे दिया मैंने अब देख लेना द सेल्फ कैनॉट बी नॉट सेल्फ यार दैट्स द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम other than experience of the self, no Shastra can show the self to us. No Guru can bring the self from his own kaleja or your own kaleja, put in front of you. Because if you do it, it has become not self. Then who is the self who is seeing that? This is the only way they tell us. So therefore, I am continuously changing. It is inevitable because my existence as a jiva depends on upadhis which are changing. Then what to do? उपाधि चेंज हो रहा है जीव चेंज हो रहा है तो डोंट ट्राई टू स्टॉप द चेंजेस ऑफ उपाधि एंड द जीव व्हाट टू डू कैच द चेंजलेस इन यू on whose basis the jiva as well as the upadhis are continuously changing और उसमें रह जाओ तुम. That's what all the Vedanta Granthas talk about. I am that Satchidananda Atma, which is Ajanma, Avikari, then Ajara, and Amruta. I'm that. Then that being eternally so, where from the Jiva Bhava coming, where from the Upadhi is coming? This question. First answer is what? अरे सेल्फ में नहीं है बोला ना, सेल्फ को पकड़ो ना. पहले उसको पकड़ो, then ये रहेगा ही नहीं तुमको. But people are not satisfied with this, nor able to do this, obviously. Then the concept of Maya, concept of Vasana, all of them have to be brought. That is why it is like untying the cow which was tied with the rope which is not existing, with the stone or the iron piece which is not existing there. एक्स को लाना पड़ता है वो मैथमेटिक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए. वह तो एक्चुअली आंसर है वो नहीं पता हमको इसलिए हमको पता करने के लिए एक्स फैक्टर को लाना पड़ता है. These are all prakriyas. Then we say because of the vasanas of whom the jiva. अब जीव नहीं है बोल रहे हो फिर वासना कहाँ से आए गुरु महाराज. इफ यू आस्क गुरु से बेटा जीव नहीं है मैंने कहा तुम मानते होते तो फिर मेरे को कहने की जरूरत नहीं होती. तुम नहीं मान रहे हो ना जीव इज नॉट देयर ओनली आत्मा इज देयर. Then to satisfy you, I have to say the vasanas. And it becomes very enchanting. And so much of involvement in that, then you exhaust your vasanas, then your jiva bhava and identification with upadhyaya goes away. Then slowly you can move towards your own essential nature. This intellectual explanation appears to be very satisfactory. Sadhana karo ya na karo. But what our Karikakara speaking in Mandukya, the highest level is what? Nani rodho na chatpati na baddho na chasa na mukshu na vai mukti ittesha paramartata. There is no Maya, there is no Upadhis, there is no Jiva Bhava, there is no bondage, there is no birth, there is no death. Ultimately, in that self, see the power of Maya. Again, when we talk about it, creating such a havoc. When you are allowing it. And that's why in Bhagavatam, in other texts we saw, which other text we saw? Morning. In that Nirvana Manjari, tomorrow we will see that line. I didn't say explain today. I don't think it is touched upon. It is no other way to know me other than surrendering to me. I think we touched it. Maya is the one creating everything. I am the Mayapati. You hold on to me. Then when the Maya goes away, you know the truth. That's what is Shloka touched. So here again I am explaining. Soyam deeporchisham yadvatu srotasam tadidam jalam. So the same archish of the deepa and same water of the river we talk. Though continuously the flame has changed because the fuel has changed. So to the waters have changed because it's flown. In the same way, soyam puman iti runam. This understanding, Mrusha Gihi, Mrusha Dhihi. Our speech also is wrong. Our acceptance that I am continuous also is wrong. And in this way, Mrusha Yusham, we are just spending time only in the ignorance of the continuous self and accepting the jiva to be continuous, and continuously we are involving the upadhis and trying to continuously get happiness and becoming continuously miserable. But this thing is very high level. It is in fact breaks entire thing which we are doing in our life. क्योंकि मैं जो करता हूँ नहीं हूँ मैं, बट दिस इज फैक्ट, हाईएस्ट फैक्ट, इसको पकड़ोगे तो व्यवहार चलेगा नहीं. That's very dangerous it is. Therefore, who can do this? Those who have ejected out of Vyavahara and Samsara. With these points in the mind, if you try to do Vyavahara, then neither you practice this there, if you practice it, sab gadbad ho jayega. If you tell your wife that you are not the same wife like yesterday and I am not the same husband, though it is a spiritual and spiritual factor, but it वो चलेगा नहीं वहाँ व्यवहार में, गड़बड़ हो जाएगा वहाँ. शी विल पुट ए कंप्लेंट और शी विल टेल पागल हो गया, अंदर डाल दो इनको स्वामी जी के क्लास सुन के. Though it is fact, but not valid there. So to fact, experience this fact, you have to get away from all the contacts. Then nobody will be questioning you like that. Then you know, I am the self is the only self which is never changeable. And in my presence, the upadhis come and go and the jiva bhavas come and go. Aane do, jaane do. As long as the Ishvara want to play, let him play. And as regard myself concerned, I am not interested. Slowly, the vasanas get reduced. Then the power of the upadhis influence goes on reducing. One day, they are so meek that if I have to do something, they come. If not, they are apne jagah pe hai, main apne jagah pe. Just imagine at what stage Gurudev is there. Always in the Brahma Anubhuti. And whenever he has to work, he in calls from the Prakriti, all the Upadhi of mind, speech, and all. He does whatever the work is to be done. Just like pen and paper you take for writing something. After writing, you keep it away. You don't identify with I am the pen and I am the book. That is an instrument for accomplishing some work. In the same way, the Upadhis are instruments to accomplish some work. They are not me. That state they are in. And why do they work and all will again different thing. That's different subject. You do not club that with this. In that the Vishwa Kalyana, the Ishwarecha, or the Guru himself thought ki, my Guru taught me, therefore I got liberation, let me teach to the other jivas. All that is relative there. Now don't fight again with him. If he realizes the self, where are other jivas to him? That he is teaching them. Baba, if you understand that, then there is no himself and nor jivas, nor in teaching also. तुम एब्सोल्यूट रिलेटिव को मिक्सअप करोगे तो तुमको आंसर नहीं मिलता. Is it not? In the dream, if the machar is dreamy machar, then the hit or whatever the smoke you are hitting to remove the machar, that is also part of dream, no? आया बात समझ में है? It's all both in the duality world, the scale is going on. In himself, he knows is nothing happening. What is the problem for us is, means when the self is known, there were nothing exists in that sort of notion we are there. When the self is known, everything doesn't get dismantled. Then everything is understood by the self's expression only. That's what. The Bheda Drushti goes away. आया बात समझ में? उसके बाद like every ornament is a gold when you know, doesn't mean that gold is not molded into ornaments. But the Bheda Drushti goes away, that this ornament and that ornament is very much different. That fighting aspect goes away. Then obviously, when it is a ring, you put it to the nose or finger, you can't put it to the hand. And when it is a bangle, you will put to the hand only, not to the ears or neck. When it's a necklace, you can't put to the waist. व्यवहार में आते हो तो व्यावहारिक रूल्स फॉलो करो, दिक्कत क्या है उसमें? बट चाहे कमर में लगा हो या कमरे में लगा हो, चाहे ऑर्नामेंट कुछ भी हो, उसमें अवैध दृष्टि आ गया कि नहीं सोना. Yeah. See the choice in that. One can use all the ornaments that are existing. One can melt them and make his own ornaments. Other fellow throw all the ornaments, stay with himself without ornaments. All three are possible, no? In the same way, the Jivan Mukta can express through upadhis, can change expressing, can just stop. He will not get affected. The gold doesn't cease to exist if somebody is using it as ornament or not. Whether it is used as another ornament by melting it or not. वो है उसी तरह से. Keep on listening. Now next one is important shloka. Ma swasya karma bhijena jayate sobhyayam puman mriyate vamaro bhrantya yathagnirdharu samyutah. Mhm. Very good. Good example. First example here. Yatha agnihi daru samyutah. When the firewood is there, the fire appears. Firewood or any indhanam. When the firewood is there, fire disappears. The fire appeared and disappeared, but it was never absent. It is never dead or not absent. In the same way, the jiva, fire is never manifested when the indhana was added. Never unmanifested or destroyed. I mean, never born when indhana is added. Never dead when the indhana is gone or removed. पहले इस एग्जाम्पल को समझो. When the fuel is added, fire is born. No. When the fuel is disappeared, the fire quenched. Both are wrong. Fire is always there in the unmanifest form. When the fuel added, it is there. Expressed form में नहीं add किया, so it gone into its unmanifest state. In the same way, self remains as it is. He is neither born nor die. Then, because of the indhana of the vasanas, the jiva appears to be expressing through the upadhi. At that time, he is considered as born. As the change of the upadhis happen, identifying that he also appears to have a changing. When the upadhis go away, he seems to be dead. So the sthai of the upadhis, position, the sthai of the jiva, the sthai of the atma, you have to contemplate. Go and do the homework. To the real self, there is no birth or death when the upadhis are born or die. Where is the self when the upadhis are born and dying? Infecting. Everywhere they are there. In and through the nook and corner of every upadhi, self is again very much there. Without itself, like water is very much there in every nook and corner of the wave, but without itself become modified to the wave way in such a way that it has lost its nature called as waterness. अपने पानीपन को भूलकर वो वेव के रूप में पानी बना क्या? नहीं बना. कहाँ है पानी वेव में? हर कोने पे है. Is it not? Remember, now the last thought of the day. That's what? The drushti that the wave is born, wave is growing, wave is changing, wave is dying. The drushti is crystallizing an individuality. The drushti is crystallizing the individuality to whom we attend, to whom the birth, modification, death are attributed because of the wave or the upadhi. And once that is done, then it becomes nature. Then you look at the other wave. You look at it also like that. Then this and that are compared. Then this is bigger, that is smaller. All this samsara is happening. The crystallization of the individuality because of the upadhi is called a jiva. It is by choice. It's only a drushti, not reality it is. So जीव को इसलिए भाव कहते हैं. जीव रियल नहीं है वो. भाव मीन दृष्टि. You felt like that. If it is not a bhava or drushti and if it is a reality, it would never change, na? But every moment I am changing in me according to the upadhis. Therefore, upadhis के कारण मैं हूँ, बिना उपाधि का मैं नहीं हूँ. कौन मैं? जीव. But real me, pervading every aspect of the upadhis untouched by them. If you call the space of the hall a square and rectangle, you are saying it so from the standpoint of the walls of the hall. Whether you say it so or don't say, whenever there is a separation of the hall space from the total space. सो उपाधियों के दृष्टि से देखने से एक हॉल का स्पेस को हम और शेप और नाम दे रहे हैं. नाम और शेप देने के कारण ये स्पेस उस स्पेस से अलग नहीं है. जस्ट बिकॉज इन द सेम वे द जीवा इज जीवा एज लॉन्ग एज देर इज द seeing of jiva through the upadhi. When the jiva ceases to see through upadhisu, he is no more jiva, he is atma. Upadhis are what? Desha, Kala, Vastu. And in that Vastu, Dravya. In the Dravya, Jati, then Guna, then Kriya. ये सारे जो उपाधि में है, उपाधि जैसो माया से आया है. व्हाट इज माया? वो शक्ति जो नहीं है लेकिन नाटक करता है. Now, every point you have to understand at that particular portion, and we should be able to combine all of them and understand combinedly. That's called Vedanta. And as you keep on listening for years together and make a notebook of yours and start at Maya, today I want to understand, Ishvara, I want to understand, Upadhi, I want to understand, Jiva, I want to understand, Atma, I want to understand, Kala, I want to understand. When you write each one of them, you understand each one. Then all of them put together, how the natak is happening, you understand. Like a movie. He first conceives the entire story, then he plans out the characters, then their action, then the location, then the lyrics or dialogues, then each one is separately trained, then the shooting is done, then cut and paste a cinema. Don't you? In the same way, the cinema of the samsara, we should be able to dismantle it at every place and finally understand. When you really do that, no, we will know all this is happening just because Maya. Otherwise, nothing. Self alone is in its own pristine glory is there. Not even Ananta Koti Brahmandas are there in the self. If you see them, we say they are in the self. From the self standpoint, nahi hai. Like we say it is heat and sun of the light. It is we say. You say to the Lord, Bhagavan Surya, आपका heat और light से हम सब जी रहे हैं. He will ask a question, what about heat and light? What are you saying? यार हीट यू डोंट नो विच इज अपोजिट टू द कोल्ड. ये मैं हीट ही नहीं जानता हूँ, कोल्ड क्या बोल रहे हो तुम? चल ठीक है, आई विल टेल यू द लाइट. डू यू नो व्हाट इज लाइट? ही सेज व्हाट इज लाइट? लाइट बाबा वो दैट व्हिच इज अपोजिट टू डार्कनेस. सूर्य सेज यार व्हाट आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट डार्कनेस? आई डोंट नो इवन लाइट. ही सेज you are surprised to listen to this sentence of Surya when he says I don't know what is heat or light. Why? Because there's nothing called heat or light apart from me, other than me. I am that. I can't be objectifying it. This is the struggle even Karikakara is doing in our last lokas of Chaturtha Prakarana. Adi Buddha, Adi Kshantaha. The words which he is using are for proving this. You cannot separate heat and light of the sun from the sun to make them as some Visheshanas to him. Is it not? They are not Visheshana. Is that they are it too? You cannot have heat and light without sun. We cannot see a sun who is cold and dark. विचित्र हो गया कि नहीं बात वहां. In the same way, in the pure self, it alone is there. All that is not known, therefore we talk about it. This is one way of seeing it. Now, he says now, Ma swasya bija karma bijena jayate sopyayam puman mreteva mano bhrantya yatagnirdaru sanyutaha. देखो मैं सिंपल बात में कहता हूँ. When the upadhis are born or dying, Atma is not born and dying. If somebody is considering he is born and dying, then he is becoming Jiva. Then we say Jiva is born and dying when the upadhis are born and dying, or when they are modifying in between. So the bhava of identification, like my-ness when is there with the car, to me, my car. Anything happening to the car troubles me. Dent lag gaya, कि पत्थर मारे. Same car, same you sell it. It is in front of you only. सेम वे किसी ने पत्थर मारा है और डेंट लगा, डू यू बिकम मिजरेबल? यू सेलिब्रेट, अच्छा हो गया मैं कल बेच दिया। यू एंजॉयड। What is the difference between yesterday and today? Apart from your all legal things of registration sale, कल मेरा था अब मेरा नहीं, तो क्या क्रिएट कर रहा है आपको उसका दुख? मेरा वाला। And go deeper into that. Because of you paid some money, it became तेरा. That's how the लौकिक व्यवहार है। अदरवाइज कार कभी तेरा नहीं है, कब मैं कार नहीं हूं, मैं तो बेकार ही हूं हमेशा। You may travel in that. It's okay. That's all Vyavahara. So to the Dehadi Upadhis, you may express through them, but neither they are yours nor they are not yours. Because they are not there at all. But when you say they are there, they are mine, then you become Jiva. This is how the in deep contemplation, when first of all the mind has to be quieted. Like any scientist, he cannot be in Hadvadat. Like in the morning, we have seen Viduraniti, the 10 people who cannot follow Dharma, therefore give them up. One of the 10 is the restless fellow. Because in this restlessness, he will not do what is right. So our minds are in a restless state because of kama krodha. Therefore, the mind is pushed to think and act to fulfill those kama krodha. थोड़ा उसको हटा के शांत करके दिमाग लगा के सोचोगे तो दीज आर ऑल known in us as our own direct experience. भगवान is telling his experience for us to have the experience. थोड़ा क्वाइट होकर सुनो. Like any misunderstanding level also, the one who understands it rightly requests us, भैया थोड़ा शांति से सुनो, इत्मीनान से सुनो, देखो लो पानी पी लो, अब मुझे टाइम दो 10 मिनट, अब मैं शुरू से बताता हूँ। फिर वो उधर से आया, ये इधर से आया, उसने हॉर्न कॉन्का, मैंने नहीं सुना, इसलिए थोड़ा सा लगा तो लगा, नहीं तो नहीं। देखो ज़्यादा उसको चोट भी नहीं लगा। आप समझ में आया, अरे सॉरी यार मैंने सोचा, सॉर्टेड आउट। With the Shantamana, we inquire, we just very clearly will know the position of the self as reality, the position of the Jagat in which Jiva is there, Upadhis are there, Samsara as unreal. Then when the snake is unreal, will you have any samsara with the snake? Or fear about it or wanting to catch it? If you are a Chinese, paka ke khao usko. No, because it's not, you can't even do it, but imagination. थोड़ा गंभीर हो जाओ। ये निषेक गर्भ जन्मानि बाल्य कौमार यौवनम वयो मध्याम जरा मृत्यु इति अवस्था तनो नव। देखो ये शरीर के है इन नौ अवस्थाएं, ठीक है। पॉइंट 1 2 नॉट ऑफ द रियल सेल्फ हु इज अ विटनेस। whoever he says they are mine, he is a jiva, he is existing because of tadatmya. For him, the food is identification. For him to sustain. If he de-identifies with himself, वो भूखे रह के वो जीव डिसअपियर हो जाएगा. So the self, the jiva, the upadhi. Upadhi is deha with its 9 modifications. Jiva is he who identifies with them and say they are mine. Self is the one who says I am only witness of it. So jiva, when he becomes witness, he is no more samsari. But is not a witness, is identified, he is a samsari. What is samsara? When the upadhis change, I am changing. So when they are born, I am born. When they are modified, I am modified. When some harm happens to them, it is happening to me. This is called as samsara. Just like when the car is broken, I am broken. That is samsara. Actually, when car is broken, you are not broken. But between car and you, an affinity is developed. So, what is that? It is mine. Then what have you become? You have become a ahankari or a jiva who is owning that car. A notion is there in your mind. किसी को दान में दे दो या बेच दो वगैरह, that notion is gone. Therefore, what is happening to car is not touching you. So too, when you accept the upadhis belong to the Lord or the Maya and don't own them, then that knowledge should express in not getting disturbed when changes or anything happen in the upadhi. Is it not? That time you are no more a samsari. Then who are you? That's the next inquiry. Then you are the eternal witness. pure existence, all pervading, one without second. These higher words, the greater words, will start appealing to us at that time. That doesn't mean we have experienced it. Then to experience that, you have to reject forcefully everything other than that, then you experience it. Nine are the stages of the body, not to you, the self. If you say they are to you, then you have become Jiva. Now, who is Jiva? I tell you, husband is Jiva. He is nowhere there. His only man is there. But through the wife, he acts like husband. Who is Jiva? The father is Jiva. There is no father. There is only man is there. But through the son, he acts like a father. सडनली वो कहीं से आता है बच्चा पैदा होते ही आप देखो the ones who those who don't have children, there's no father in them. Man is there. Is it not his husband? When his wife, when they wants to, no more husband is. You understand what is Jiva now through the Upadhi. That's what is called relative. If this much you catch, it's sorts of unnecessary value importance given to the relativity. See, changing relativity when you give importance, it becomes so real to pull us into the level of misery and also keeps us away from the blissful self. Man is always happy. As a man, he is not conditioned by anything, no? Therefore, there is no conditional misery to him. But by the way, out of topic point मैं बता रहा हूँ. But he wants to be happy as a father. He wants to be happy. For that, he just thinks that being a father, he can be happy. Definitely, he gets happiness as he expected. But उसके साथ responsibilities होंगे, that fellow frustrates you. ये सब इसको दिखता नहीं. Like every couple younger coming together, they will think so. धीरे धीरे अंदर के वासना या डिजायर्स या वो अहंकार बाहर आता रहता है तो then they don't know. मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं था ऐसा होता करके, नहीं तो मैं शादी नहीं कर लेता. Like this everybody say but nobody stops man. It has one side of it only we see. And it's in relative world. Everything will give dukkha and sukha in equal way. If you want sukha, be ready to take dukkha. If you don't want dukkha, don't expect sukha, then be beyond that. This, by the way, I'm adding how we get caught up in the world. But the jiva is explained today a conditional expression. Like I am speaking. The speaker in me is jiva through the medium of speech through the mouth. So too, I'm emotional. I'm not emotional. I'm the pure self, conscious of the emotions of mind. But when I identify with that, that emotional me is jiva. The intellectual me is jiva. The perceiving me is jiva. The walker with the body, talker with the mouth, the doer with the hand is jiva. With the upadhis. You understood? उपाधि के द्वारा व्यक्त जो होता है जीव है, उपाधि से पूरा डिटैच हो गया तो आत्मा है. And without identification upadhi, jiva cannot be. And upadhis cannot be stable, they go on changing. Therefore, jiva also keeps on changing, but he doesn't want. But you can't avoid it. इसको वेरी लेमैन्स लैंग्वेज में कहते हैं भाई दिन बदल रहे हैं, समय बदल रहा है, लोग बदल रहे हैं, उनके साथ तुम भी एडजस्ट हो जाओ. And the wives complain always against her husband. He is not understanding the times have changed, the children are changing. अरे पुराना ही आदमी है, खुद ही दुखी होता है, सबको दुखी कर रहा है. No, when she is saying there, unknowingly she is talking highest philosophy. But the highest philosophy, you can't stop the upadhis changing. Only way to be happy while being identified with upadhis, accept the changes. If you revolt the changes, then you suffer. Either keep on changing yourself according to upadhi. If not, then just detach from the upadhi, be one with the self. कोई नहीं कर, सब लोग कर रहे. They just dance to the tunes of the daughter-in-law and they are happy. खाना मिलता है जैसे कुत्ते को मिलता है and they are happy with that. अब लड़ाई करोगे तो भगाएगी वो, या खुद ही छोड़कर आश्रम जाओ तो you are the king. That is why in life only two, either compromise or sacrifice. Best is sacrifice. Sacrifice the upadhis. Don't compromise and get bound by that. The moment you sacrifice, you're Raja, Maharaja. Just like I said, You'll have a feeling that I'm away from my children, grandchildren, and all. But you are a free bird in your place wherever you stay. You are full free. None of them dare can question you. और ये उसको आप वैल्यू दो, ये मजा ज्यादा है. इन द सेम वे द देहेंद्रियादि उपाधि आल्सो, उसको पकड़कर उसके द्वारा खुशियां चाहते हो तो ये नामुमकिन है. बस किक देम इन योर साक्षी भाव एंड रिमेन एज योर शुद्ध चैतन्य स्वरूप, यू आर इन द ब्लिस. Nine stages of the body are Nisheka, Garbha, Janmani. Nisheka means entering into the womb. Garbha, growing there. Janma, birth. How many are they? Three. Then the three are Balya, Kaumara, Yavanam. The childhood, then the teenage, then Yuvavastha. Kitne ho gaye? 6. Then Vayo, Madhyam, Jara, Mrityu. The middle age, the old age, and death. These are the 9 things which belong to the Deha. The one who says they are mine is Jiva. अदरवाइज यू आर ओनली विटनेस ऑफ देम. रिमेन एज विटनेस. आने दो, जाने दो. उसमें क्या है? इन द विटनेस प्रेजेंस ऑफ परमात्मा विथ हिज ओन माया शक्ति, not only this body, millions of bodies of all animals are born, growing, having these 9 changes and dying one day. उपाधि को पकड़ा, जीव बन गए. याद रखो, जीव बन गया तो सफर हो जाओगे. This is what. Now, eta manotamaihi अन्यस्योच्चावचास्तनुः गुणसंगादुपादत्ते क्वचित् कश्चित् जहाति च. एताः मनोरथमयीः. So, अन्यस्य उच्चावचाः तनुः. मनोरथमयी मीन्स व्हाट? ये जो वासनाओं के कारण, संकल्प विकल्प के कारण, these variety of the bodies are born of the highly regarded categories, lowly regarded categories. First, in those bodies, these things are coming and going. The 9 of them: Nisheka, Garbha, Janma, Balya, Kaumara, Yavana, Madhyamavastha, Jaravastha, Mrityu. They can be to a lowest also, highest also. एक मच्छर को भी होता है, भी हाथी को भी होता है, मनुष्य में भी होते हैं सब, देवताओं के शरीर में भी ये सब होते हैं. सो दे आर ऑल हैपनिंग. पॉइंट 1. पॉइंट 2, गुण संघात उपादत्ते. एंड व्हेन आई एम अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ द माया, देन आई गेट आइडेंटिफाइड विद देम. जब अकल काम करता है, मैं इसको छोड़ देता हूँ. द मोमेंट पकड़ा, फंस गए. द मोमेंट छोड़ दिया, मुक्त हो गए. That is what is said in the Upanishads and these Bhagavatadi. Shankara Bhagavan says in those shlokas of Mano Buddhi Hankara Chittani Naham. They are all upadis. They are neither me nor mine. अब देखो, एक बढ़िया सा थॉट. आज के लिए इतना काफी है. थोड़ा सा बहुत क्लासों को रामायण भी करनी है. ध्यान से सुनो. आई नो इट विल नॉट बी अंडरस्टूड और कट, बट स्टिल आई शेयर फॉर माई सेक. कि सारे सृष्टि में देहादि, among those dehas, this deha, let it be born, let it be continuous. Why do you worry? Can we establish in this thought? Finally, with the body, we have to live like that. But to come to this level, slowly reduce the worry and identification with absolutely trouble creating things. Say later on, reduce your identification, worry about the non-essentials. Then think about the things which are thinking as essential. If they are also essential, remove them. Then remain in minimum. Even after doing so, start becoming witness to the things that are happening around. Just remain as witness. वो भी कैसे? पूछे तो बताना, नहीं तो नहीं. अब देखोगे क्या होगा. जो दुनिया चल रही है हमारे प्रेजेंस से एब्सेंस के साथ, चलता ही रहेगी. हम ही फंसे थे इसलिए दुखी थे, नहीं फंस रहे दुखी नहीं है. ये रियलाइजेशन आएगा. It's like I tell you the fact, which will not agree it, but share. Children will behave the way they have to, whether you tell them or don't tell. By telling them and saying, listening no from them, you only get separated, frustrated. And why it is a true? Because children are behaving like that, not to trouble you. Just like we never behave in a funny way to trouble the God or the Guru or others. Then That intention of troubling never is there in us. Then nature is like that, which when expresses because it is non-stoppable, then it leads to the trouble. आपको दुखी करने के लिए मैं गुस्सा नहीं करता हूं, फिर I can't stop gussa. I become gussa because of my nature. That gives you trouble. Children doesn't become disobedient and trouble the parents. Then what? By nature they are disobedient. That appears as a trouble to the parents because they insist on obedience. Is it not? And any parent who understands after 18, 19 years, children won't listen to us. But as a responsible father, mother, so to avoid the future blame from the children, anybody, you keep on telling that is as per Shastra, aisa karo, ya aisa mat karo, ya aisa mat karo. Guru knows it. Why the Guru with thousands of disciples never create samsara even with one disciple? He knows that I have to tell them, but what they do it is in their hands. Therefore, he follows karmanye vadikaraste mafaresh. Kadachana. That is why he is not touched by any disciples. Growth through sadhana or totally not following and getting destroyed. But out of his love and compassion, the one who is not following and destroyed, he will give hints to him whether he will accept or not. So to the one who is doing and growing, he just out of giving encouragement, he will give some words of encouragement and inspiration. बट इज नॉट टच्ड बाय बोथ ऑफ देम बिकॉज कहना मेरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी था और उसके अंदर जो जीव है उसके अनुसार एक ने किया एक तो नहीं किया वो उस उनके हाथ में है नाइदर आई हैव स्पेशल अटैचमेंट टू दिस फेलो हु ओबेड मी नॉर आई हैव डिटैचमेंट और हेट्रेड टू द वन हु डिड नॉट बिकॉज दोनों अपने अपने नेचर के अनुसार है वो उनके हाथ में भी नहीं है द बिगेस्ट पॉइंट इज दिस and they one day will have to realize that their nature is wrong, then they have to reset that nature, then they become naturally good. When I said this about children, actually it's about ourselves only. We are helpless victims of our own habits and nature. Is it not? Unless consciously we sit and work on them and beautify them, the noble things we cannot achieve in our life, by the way. And this subject is taught to us through Vidurniti in the morning class. Whereas in Ramayana we are listening Bhakti and Dharma, through Bhagavatam and Upanishad we are living the ultimate Jnanam, and through Vidurniti, these inner adjustments we are learning. That's how the Lord is giving us all opportunities every day, whoever are using. At least sunne se. So these 9 things are inevitable to the entire universe as well as every body in the universe. It's in the womb, it is growing in the womb, it is born outside, then outside for the human being, the Balya Komaryavana, Madhyamavastha, Vruddhavastha, and finish. Not to me. Keep on practicing this. Keep on practicing this. Till that we are able to really witness all these happenings in the Deha. Then comes question, then who are you who are witnessing all of them? I am a pure conscious self. And so simple. I am aware of my awareness, I am in the awareness as awareness. I am just away from the awareness of the self, the awareness. I just visualize the world, which is nothing but out of my own non-awareness created. On whom that which is always there. And what is always there? I am. तो मैं मेरे को यथातथ देखता हूं तो मैं आत्मा हूं मैं मेरे को यथातथ देखना बंद किया तो मैं ही जगत के रूप में दिख रहा हूं बट दैट इज नॉट रियलिटी that is illusion and in that the varieties in that day so many things that happen anywhere you give it reality you suffer see then 2 people go to that ornament shop एक को तो पहनने की इच्छा ही नहीं है कोई इसलिए उसको कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता जो जितने भी पड़े उधर बट द अदर वन सीइंग सो मेनी इज वरीड कौन सा शुड आई वेयर दैट ईयर रिंग और नोज रिंग और फिंगर रिंग और सफरिंग विच टू बाई इज सो कंफ्यूज एंड टेंस्ड अप Sharp remains same, but the drishti is different. Accordingly, the samsara is created. Is it not? World remains same, बाबा. तुम्हारे दृष्टि के अनुसार दृष्टि गलत है संसार होगा दृष्टि अच्छा है भक्ति सेवा होगा अत्यंत सूक्ष्म दृष्टि है जगत मिथ्या है सत्य परमात्मा ओनली some more thoughts are in this thing this chapter is so powerful let it take 2-3 days more but we will पक्का ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड एज मच लॉर्ड परमिट्स अस. थैंक यू. ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदम पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय. सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. थैंक यू. नाउ विल स्टार्ट उत्तराखंड टुडे हिंदी में. श्री कृष्ण शरणम मम. ओम ओम ओम. कोई कह रहे थे मुझे उत्तराखंड तेलुगु में, मैंने कहा ये दो चार आ रहे हैं वो भी गायब